Stephanie, how are you feeling
I'm
today?
doing good. I was like, wait a second, it didn't get to let me like hang out for a little bit. There we
I
go.
know you disappeared. I was like, where'd she go? What's up,
I
Kay?
know. All right, let me go grab these comments over here.
Diana,
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
Stephanie, how are you feeling
I'm
today?
doing good. I was like, wait a second, it didn't get to let me like, hang out for a
Oh,
I
oh,
hear myself. Yes.
that is me. Hang on. Oh,
Yes, stop
shoot.
that.
We will get this fixed.
I think I'm just like in another tab.
Yes.
Do, do, do. Okay, let's see.
Fixed. Testing.
Alrighty, we've got Roseanne. Hello, Roseanne. Just like in another tab. Oh, I hear myself. Is it just the delay?
How
ABC.
about now?
How about now? Sounds good.
All right, beautiful.
Alrighty. Okay, so you guys were we were rating teas earlier. There's a smoky tea, a carrot cake
Carrot
tea,
cake.
carrot cake tea,
Yes.
carrot cake tea, and the London fog tea. Yeah.
London fog.
All right. So
Yes, I was telling Stephanie. By the way, type it in the chat. What are you guys drinking? I
what
was
are you
telling
doing?
Stephanie about my tea addictions, and I have this favorite carrot cake tea, second to my absolute favorite smoky tea from Japan.
Do you have to special order the smoky tea from Japan?
So far, the last 3 years, we've just gone over there every year and bought some.
Oh,
So I've never ordered it. I just buy enough for the year.
yeah. Well, there you
Am
go.
I
Look
a
at
bit
you.
of a delay or am I good, Stephanie?
You're good. You're good on my end. It might just be because you're on Wi-Fi and all the things.
Beautiful. All right. I am on uh, Wi-Fi. I am not in the studio this weekend or this week, rather. So welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, and happy Wednesday afternoon. I am on EST today. So it is 3 o'clock. Very strange for me. I'm used to doing this call at noon. Some of you guys, you're used to hopping on at 3. So just a little bit different. But welcome in. We got a lot to cover today. I'm going to be talking about the market update. And can you guys hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you guys hearing me okay. All right.
You sound great.
Audio good. I being out of the studio takes me a little getting used to operating on one small screen. So we are set up today, and we have a special guest we're going to be bringing up in a little bit. Very excited to be sharing market update with you and a lot of good things that are happening. I believe we have a slide deck. Do we, Stephanie?
We sure do. Look at this, fancy
Beautiful.
fancy.
So shout out to Anya. We have been testing this updated format. We have been putting together the pieces, and each week I bring to you here on the deal room the market update. What the heck is happening in the world today? What is going on? What you can and should be expecting, and the good and the bad. All right. So if you're listening on YouTube, show us some love in the chat, give some likes and some subscribes and all the good things. We're going to get into the market update and share this slide deck with you. And forgive me if I'm a little slow to switch, again, being not in the studio. So I want to point out that there is right now tremendous opportunity in the marketplace. A couple of stats, because I know you guys like stats. I like stats. I like sharing stats. 34% of purchases in the month of February were new first-time home buyers. 34%. Now, I share that because normally that number is between that 30 and 40%. Lately, the last 2 years, it's been down in the 20s. And so a lot of first-time home buyers were pushed out of the market. And for the first time in a very long time, when polled in March, most only 9% of people were concerned about pricing. They were more concerned about interest rates and more concerned about the economy and all other things, and less concerned about pricing, which means that the high prices is becoming the new normal. Also, when polled for my A crew who loves the stats. When polled, 51% of people said they believe the American dream of home ownership is dead. That's the solution you and I get to provide. Now, this is the Deal Room Live. As I'm getting ready to go through this slide deck and show you guys some cool updates, I want you to keep in mind that this is one facet of income generation that I talk about. This is how does Frankie and Diana and Heather and every one of you listening create income vehicles and wealth building machines so you can live your purpose more fully, give back to who you're called to give back to, and serve who you're called to serve. And so when I talk about real estate, as I often say, I don't get excited about the box on dirt. I get excited when Diana gets to come and pack meals with us in Vegas. I get excited when Frankie gets to come and feed the homeless with us, right? Or feed the kids. And I get excited when Heather, and I'm just picking on you guys because you guys are on my screen. When we get to go do work for good and work for God. And so I share that again just to keep the perspective because yes, this business is a way that we get to serve, but for me, this business is a great way to make consistent income so that I can consistently serve better. Does that make sense? Yes? All right. So the market, no crash, no breakout, just a market holding steady. More first-time home buyers entering the marketplace. Um, Uncertainty, type it in the chat. Uncertainty is opportunity. And in case you hadn't noticed, while most of the regulations around housing, much of what the president does and what the current leadership does is very good for us investors. It's a very good thing. And at the same time, if you didn't know from 2016, you now know that this president operates in uncertainty. It's part of negotiations. So if you understand that, now you know we're consistently working through uncertainty. And that is creating a window of opportunity for us. Let's go to the next slide, Stephanie. So I want to point out with rates holding steady a little bit above 6%, with the pressure on the housing market that there is, we're being told there's a housing shortage. We're being told that there's pent up demand for 5.5 million more homes, which I still believe is true, except there's also 15 million vacant houses in the US. And again, now some of the people in our community do new builds. There's opportunities in putting modulars on land. There's all sorts of opportunities in affordable housing and tiny houses and all sorts of things. And if you just find a handful of these 15 million vacant properties and you negotiate good terms and you turn around and you provide affordable housing on lease options, you can arbitrage. You can get paid the difference over and over again. All right, let's go to the next slide. I want to point out that when buyers become hesitant, sellers still need to sell. And that's where you and I come in. In fact, I just had a chat. I don't know if Dr. Steve's on here or not. What's up, Valerie? Good to see you. Marlon, Lauren, Devin, Angela, nice to see you. Man, what a beautiful crew on here. I keep scrolling and just keep seeing more beautiful faces. All right. So, when it comes to this business, I don't know if Dr. Steve's on here or not. We just had a call with a guy. We had talked to the guy a few months ago, and I've heard this multiple times in the last week from our community. I talked to this seller in October. I talked to this seller last March. I talked to this seller in December. And back then they said no. Back then, they said, no, give me all cash retail price, which, by the way, is what the majority of people want. Wouldn't you believe it? All cash retail price. But time and circumstance changes every seller's mind. And so, with listings being slow, not a lot of houses available, but buyers also being slow, everyone's being cautious, there is uncertainty. And again, that breeds opportunity. I am getting an enormous amount of people. So Dr. Steve and I just had a chat, I believe it was last night with a guy, one of his sellers who a few weeks ago was holding steady at all cash retail price. And now the guy says, well, how long would it take you to pay me off? That's a open door. All right. Let's go to the next slide. Sellers are sitting on houses longer. Buyers are taking longer to buy. Average days on market is up over 6 weeks now. And that has been a massive shift in leverage. Everybody remembers a few years ago when a seller could list and get above asking a lot of the time. Now only 14% of listings are selling above listing. Power is back with the buyers. All right, let's go to the next slide. So find your, type it in the chat, USP. What's a USP? Well, you're going to hear often USP referred to as something else, and even me making it, sharing about it being something else. What's up, Elo? What's up, Jerry? What's up, Mimi? Good to see you guys. If you're on YouTube, just give me a type in the chat. 1 out of 10. How's your energy level? So when it comes to knowing your USP, what is your unique superpower? Your unique superpower. What makes you different? This is where I talk about finding your point of commerce. All right. So understand that I believe this year, you can go to the next slide, we're going to see rates drop. I believe that with everything in me. Now, it's okay if I'm wrong, because you're still going to buy houses on little and no interest with little to nothing down and taking over low interest rates. All right. So it's okay if they don't. But I believe it's very likely rates will go down. And I believe it's very likely that at worst, prices are flat. And at best, they continue to increase a little bit. Buyers, when rates go down, rush back into the market and immediately sales starts going up. All right, next slide. This is the exciting part. I told you last week um, that I was going to start a alphabet.
I'm so
Hey,
happy to see this. I was like, wait a second, this is kind of cool.
by the way, we was talking about. I got to shout out Stephanie. Stephanie, what's your feedback on this?
I like this. I like it a lot.
That's awesome. So, um, we brainstorm every week, Stephanie and I. And when it comes to brainstorming on this show, on what we do in the Deal Room Live, we ask ourselves, how can we help Jerry and Ferris and Lacey and Mimi and Elo and everybody on here do more deals? And Bill and Victor and Gene and Susie. Shout out, by the way, Susie's a 9. Heck yeah, I'll keep that energy up. So, how can we help you guys get more deals? And something I realize is that I throw around words a lot. Some of you who are experienced know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you who are newer sometimes are probably going, what the heck are you talking about? And everywhere in between. Plus, not to mention that you hear lots of words thrown around in the investor community, and sometimes they become a sexy word, and people using them don't even know what the heck they're talking about. You start hearing sub two and lease option and rent to own and contract for deed and all sorts of terms that may or may not even be accurately used. Arbitrage is a word I have heard used more in the last 6 months than I heard in the past 12 years. And so I said, I'm going to talk about arbitrage. What the heck is arbitrage? It's the difference between what you pay for something and what you sell it for. All right. Now, there's all sorts of deep things you can go in here. Are you talking about rental arbitrage? You rent it and rent it for more. Are you talking about short-term rentals? Are you talking? So I started hearing a lot when people would rent a house as a regular rental and they would sell it as a, or not sell it, they would short-term rent it and make the difference. So that's one form of arbitrage. We get to arbitrage a house by buying on payments and selling on higher payments. Now, I know all the naysayers that say, but Andrew, what if the tenant don't pay? Well, if you do this enough times, you're going to run into a tenant who don't pay. I can assure you that. However, if you buy owner financing and you buy with good numbers and you sell on lease option and you get a chunk down the day they move in, you are increasing your likelihood of success massively. Now, I can assure you that stuff will go wrong. At some point, some tenant won't pay somewhere. We figured for that when we got an average of 10% non-refundable option deposit the day they moved in. All right. So in other words, yes, they say hope for the best and prepare for the worst, but I think the reality is more like set yourself up for success. All right. You guys tracking? Yes. Everybody awake, alive, tracking? All right. So I'm going to be giving you guys a special announcement today, something you may or may not already know. And I'm going to be sharing some very exciting things. And I'm going to also be reminding you to get your confirmation for the upcoming event in May. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Arbitrage, making a profit from the difference. Remember, we don't buy like we sell, and we don't sell like we buy. So understand we're in a market where sellers are trying to sell and they're taking longer to sell. Buyers need to buy, but there's a quote affordability crisis. And so we buy houses on payments and we sell them on higher payments and we make the difference. Go ahead to the next slide. So I want to point this out when we talk about arbitrage. And this is where the unspoken things happen. Now, I'm not going to get into the weeds too far on this, but maybe we can do a segment or a slide deck on this one day where I talk about the appreciation over time. And I would like to do a presentation. In fact, Anya, note down for me to do a slide presentation sometime in the month of April talking about the different profit centers in real estate. Because I often talk about buying on payments and I often talk about getting a lease option, not a refundable option deposit. I often talk about the middle end payday where you get more for rent every single month than you're paying for the mortgage. And I often talked about the back end payday when they cash you out. I don't talk a lot about appreciation. The more inflation is, the more you get appreciation. I don't often talk about the debt pay down. I don't often talk about the tax benefits, at least not in great detail. I don't often talk about inflation actually paying your debt down for you. I'm going to say this briefly. We'll cover it deeper in another time, but I believe this is an important seed to plant. Knowing that if inflation is at 5% and you have debt at 4%, you're getting paid to borrow money. That's all, why a whole bunch of people got really rich in 2020 to 2025 who own stuff. I'm not denying the affordability challenges. I'm not denying that everything's higher. Shoot, gas is what, $6 or $7 in Cali right now. I get it. And also understand you choose which side of the game you're going to be on. But Andrew, I don't have a bunch of money sitting on the sidelines. Well, lucky for you, you got me and you got the deal room. All right. So we're going to be talking a lot more about this. Let's go to the next slide. The Boslow arbitrage. Sellers aren't able often to get full price. You get to structure a deal where you pay the seller over time. You get to pay the seller out over time. It's a win for you, it's a win for them. And then you get to find a buyer who perhaps was priced out of the market and provide them an opportunity. You win, they win, everybody wins. All right, go to the next, not the next slide, but the following one, Stephanie. Execution targets for the week. I want to point this out. Every one of your numbers may be different, but as we get ready to go into the deal room live, every single week I show up here, I give you guys a market update first, and then we get into live dials, and then I bring on an incredible guest. Today, you're going to meet a awesome guest who you're going to love. He actually just fired himself from his 9 to 5 job and became a full-time real estate investor a few short weeks ago. He's been investing now for several years. You guys are going to get so much inspiration from him. He's just a brilliant mind in investing in finance and business in general, and someone I think you're going to get a lot of insights from. And when it comes to this business, all the cool things I'm telling you are awesome, but none of it matters if you're not setting yourself targets and actually doing movement. Like, what am I doing to move this freaking needle forward? I can sit on the sidelines and dream of doing deals all day, or I can get on the freaking phones and have people tell me no. So get on the freaking phones and have people tell you no. Because if you get through enough no's, eventually there's a yes, and yeses pay really freaking well. All right? The gap, last slide. The gap is where the money is. Are you executing this week? The way you invest your time, the way you go into the marketplace, the way you show up. But Andrew, I called 10 people and they said no. Good. Then you're 10 closer to a yes. That's the way the business works. It's the way it usually works. And so when you, it's, I heard the example one time from one of my dear friends and mentors. He said, some of you guys are parents. Imagine the first time your kid tried to walk and they fall down, or the second time, and you said, well, guess this one's not a walker. No, of course not. You said, all right, that one didn't work. Let's try again, buddy. And you tried again, and you tried again, and you tried again. And finally, you had yourself a little walker. Why? Because they tried over and over and over again. And so I want to point out that example because when you call sellers, and I hear this all the time from online, well, most people don't want to sell on payments. No, duh, of course not. Most people aren't going to lend you money. Most people ain't going to sell you their house. And most people don't have $25,000 non-refundable option deposit to put down. You ain't buying from most people and you ain't selling to most people. So ask lots of questions, get lots of no's. And yes, when that one, for me, 1 out of 10 or so say, yes, I'll sell you my house on payments. If you're newer or the leads are crappier, maybe it's 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 70, it doesn't matter. Now you just get through the no's and you get to the yeses. When you're selling on a lease option, you get through the people who are looking to rent for half of what the rent is in the area because that's what majority of the calls are going to be. And then you're going to come to the person who suddenly has 20 or 25,000 down and all of your faith will be turned to sight. All right? But only if you work through all of the no's. All right? That, oh gosh, I got a bunch more on the market update, but it's already 321. We better get to some dials. How you guys feeling? Let me
Doing
go
great.
look at the chats here. You feeling good, Stephanie?
Doing good. I like your little walker analogy. I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you. So, if we have any questions, if you have questions, put a Q in front of your question and put it in the chat. Stephanie's going to put them on the screen and I'm going to answer it. Note as you get ready to ask your questions, note that there is a QR code on your screen that will be there, I believe, the entire call today. If you have your ticket, scan that code and make sure the team knows that you're coming to May. What's the dates? May 15, 16, 17. If you do not have your tickets, scan the QR code on your screen and request tickets. What are we doing? May 15, 16, 17, we're bringing together about 5 dozen incredible investors, private lenders, deal makers. In fact, I just had a meeting with one of our private lenders today, talking to him about how that we can get you guys access to money. And so more money. And we had another private lender meeting last week. We've been lining this up. So lots of private lenders will be there. Lots of deal makers will be there. There will be some surprise guests there. You're going to meet a lot of people who are doing a lot of deals. We're going to be actually getting you doing deals. Some of you are going to leave this live event with deals negotiated, pre-negotiated, follow-up scheduled, and usually, if we do a live event like this, somebody or a few people leave with signed contracts. All right. So that's what I'm talking about. So scan the QR code and get your tickets because I love Zoom and I love hanging out online with you, but there's nothing like sitting across from each other in a live event. Ain't that right, Diana? All right. So we are going to get to some live dials and then we are going to have a guest and then I am going to give you a very special announcement here shortly. All right, I got to go over here on my other screen. Pardon the 10 seconds of silence. Oh, my YouTube folks are cranking. That's what I'm talking about. By the way, YouTube, Voodoo Victory. I got to find out your actual names. I can't just call you Voodoo Victory.
Voodoo
Steven
Victory's here.
Johnson, what's up?
Oh, yeah. Voodoo Victory had a question. Does the seller know that you're doing this? That was when you were covering arbitrage.
Yes, good question, Voodoo Victory. So when you buy the house, you are buying with owner financing. Bob Slow is called buy with owner financing, sell with lease option. So you, Voodoo Victory, me, my trust, Andrew Schlag's trust, is owner of the house. Seller is the bank, all made crystal clear on the phone with the seller, all signed off in front of the attorney. It's a win for the seller, or they wouldn't do it. It's a win for me. It's a win for them. I'm owning it, and they know that they're going to get paid off when I resell it. So very, very, very much on the same page. And again, doesn't work for most sellers. And the minority it does, it's a huge win for them. In fact, you're the answer to their prayer. The guy we talked to this week with Dr. Steve, we're the answer to his prayer. He don't have the money to finish fixing this house. So the fact that Dr. Steve's going to come in And assuming we come to numbers and buy his house and take that debt off of his plate by covering his payments until it pays him off in full, Steve is the answer to his prayer. What's up, Jerry? What's up, Ferris? On the course with Felipe. You must be a golfer. What's up, Gene? All right, keep them coming. Scan the QR code on your screen. Make sure that you are requesting your tickets for Cincinnati, May 15, 16, 17. And who's ready for live dials? Give me an oh yeah in the chat.
You still haven't seen that movie, have you?
Not yet.
Maybe your next retreat you should have like a movie night.
Hey, then I could get all the references, couldn't I?
You would, wouldn't
Oh,
you?
this one's a famous place, Butler, Pennsylvania.
Oh, look, Russell's back. Hey, Russell. Nice to see you.
Let's calling Desiree on Upland Avenue. Can you hear
Let's
this
go.
ringing, Stephanie?
I sure do.
All right. Shout out to Anya. Thank you for keeping my deal updated. Shout out to Stephanie. I heard you uh, last week while Brandon covered. Did an amazing job, by the way. I heard that you was crushing a live event.
Yes,
How was
sir.
that?
It was great. It was awesome. We held it here in Crown Point. Beautiful part of San Diego. It was nice. We had our own little Airbnb.
Love that.
All the
Next, we're
things.
calling Julie on Smith Road,
Let's go, Julie.
Del Mar, California number.
Del Mar.
It's our neighbor, isn't it?
It
Between me
is.
and yeah.
Is it sunny? Oh, you're not in San Diego. Or yeah, you're not in
Not today.
that.
Normally.
I was going to say it's really sunny today.
Uh, Partly cloudy.
Oh, I see. You've got.
Oh man, we gotta get somebody on the phone. All right, let's call this person. Name is forgot to ask. Tim, we gotta pick up the names, brother.
The name is forgot to. I just got that. Shout out to Jason, by the way. He goes like, "Has Andrew not seen Ferris Bueller?" That's what I'm saying. Let me see.
All right, we gotta get somebody on the darn phone.
Let's get somebody. We're on a mission.
Hello.
Hey, it's Andrew calling you back on the house you're selling on Satinwood. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. Did I catch you at a good time?
No, for a few minutes.
All right, cool. Wanted to double check. You're asking 279 for the house, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then from my understanding, it looks like it's in good shape. It doesn't need any work to get it in tippy top shape. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there's nothing really that I would see that you would have to do to it. I mean, unless you wanted to do something to it. I mean, you can you can turn it into the Winchester Mystery House and remodel for until the end of your life, I guess.
Of
But
course.
you know the house is it's ready to move in.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then is the pictures on Zillow, like, is that accurate? The wood floors and everything?
Yeah, the recent pictures. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just took
okay.
them.
Okay, cool.
And I'm getting ready to put some more up. I just haven't got back to the computer yet to put them up, but I'm getting ready to put some more up of the basement and like that.
Awesome. Now, is this something, and I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Michael,
Michael. All right, I'm Andrew. Is this something that if I was to buy it and pay the closing costs, of course, I'm not a realtor, none of that, so no realtor fees, and close with a real estate attorney, would you be willing to give me some time to pay you off in full?
well, what kind of time?
Well, normally what I do is, on a house like this, we'll grant a price now and we'll close whenever you want, and then I just pay you monthly until I resell it. So, how long would you be comfortable giving me?
Well, that's something I'd have to run by my brother. I believe that he's looking for the money right away because he's getting ready to retire and wants to leave the state. So
Ah,
that's the reason why. That's the reason we're selling it.
it's paid off, right? It's no debt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the house paid off.
Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you, do you know what the taxes and insurance run on it?
The insurance isn't much. I mean, the taxes I think were 1,700. I don't know. We've had the house for a while. It was dad.
Okay.
It was my dad's house, and dad was he wasn't able to do anything, so we took care of everything for him. Like the bills and everything. So
Yeah.
I think it was they weren't much.
Yeah. Okay. If we agreed on everything else, like what's no one, no realtor fees or none of that. What's the least you and your bro what was your brother's name?
Pat.
Pat and Michael. What's the least you and your brother you think would take as a purchase price?
Well, I don't know. I think we got a price pretty fairly right now from what everybody's telling me. They told me that everybody that calls tells me it's. She goes, "Wow, you're pretty cheap." So I don't know if we want to lower the price. So everybody's telling me more like the 300 range. So I think there's opportunity there for the right person.
And
Um,
did they send you an offer in writing?
well, I'm waiting to get back to the. I'm waiting to get back, but
Okay.
yeah, there
All right.
that.
Fair enough. If we could agree and you gave us a little time, like let's say we could do the 279 and pay the closing, your side and ours, no spades as is, all that stuff. Like what kind of monthly payment would you be looking for until we paid you off the 279 cash?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to check with my brother on that, if even if he'd want to do something like that.
Okay. All right. When will you have a chance to talk to him? When should we reconnect?
Probably next week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's going to a baby shower this weekend, so
All right.
um, yeah, give us a call back next week.
Sounds good, brother. We'll talk to you next week
Right?
about the same time.
Yeah, about the same time. Sounds
All right.
great.
All right, bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So, note, by the way, team, what we do live here for all my YouTube crew, we are calling student deals, community member deals, people who submit deals for me to call and negotiate alongside you. And then I know Tim, I seen Tim in the house a moment ago. What happens is when you negotiate these, or I negotiate these, or I put a follow up on, make sure that you are noting this down. If it's your lead, note it down. Because what happens when you're noting it down is you're going to do a follow up. And I call a lot of these on the live deal room. Make sure that you're noting it down and that you're following up with these guys. And I put it in my sheet. Often there's a follow up scheduled for the next day to wrap the deal or on Friday to wrap the deal. And that's your follow up to run across the finish line alongside your coach, myself, etc. Make sure you are noting these follow ups down. Why? Because that's the make or break difference from these deals going through or falling through. Michael and Pat, very nice guys, I'm sure. They've inherited this house. They have a cool idea that, my gosh, I have six figures I didn't know I had. And they're going to sell it. And all of these warm, fuzzy people who didn't write them an offer and who's not writing them an offer told them, oh, you should ask more. Probably realtors who wanted the listing said, you should ask more. And now, guess what happens? I call them, and he has this cool idea that, gosh, I'm even underpriced. Well, cool. Then why has no one written an offer? So you notice how I asked the question. I asked it in a gentle way, a nice way, but also brought him to the fact that if it was that great, they would have already wrote an offer. All right. So keep the chats hopping. We're going to do some more live dials, but first, I want to remind you two things. If you have a question, type it in the chat with a Q in the front of it. Second, if you're not already registered for the live event coming up in Cincinnati, May 15, 16, 17, scan the QR code on your screen or go to request.truka.com and get your request your tickets. I'm going to read these chats. Do we have any questions, Stephanie?
No,
Not
but
at the
we got a really funny comment from Jason.
Yeah?
Jason said the seller bragged about all the interest he's gotten, but he's received 0 written offers. Tisk
Yes.
tisk.
I like it. By the way, Jason, shout out Jason. I know Jason was on a few weeks ago and talking about the non-refundable option deposit. Jason just sent me a text. Um, looks like he's got another non-refundable option deposit coming. I just want to shout Jason out. He's just always winning. If you guys haven't connected with Jason, He is someone you want to be connected with. All right, let's get another dial on the phone before we bring up our special guest. Where did my leads go? Here we go. Next is Ephraim. He's asking 140. Ephraim answers.
If you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
Andrew, calling about the house in Frankfurt.
Bill Andrew, please stay on the line.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
They said, send more information. You can leave a message after the tone.
Ephraim, it's Andrew calling about your Bald Knob Road house. Wanted to put an offer in. I had a couple more questions though before I do. Give me a call back at your convenience. Thank you. All right. Notice it says they said send more information, which is him saying, I'm tired of taking calls from people I'm not going to sell to. My only job is to get the guy on the phone because everything else is going to be a gross waste of time. But Andrew, can I just text him my offer? You sure can. You do whatever you want, but follow the proven system. Get him on the darn phone and ask him the questions. Be a lot more likely to do a deal.
This is Walt. How may I help you?
Well, it's Andrew calling you back on your River Roadhouse. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Did I catch you at a good time?
No, that time's fine.
Cool, cool. Hey, I was looking at that house. My understanding is you just recently renovated it, right?
I renovated from paint and all that other good stuff about 3 years ago. But the recent renovation was the updated tile, bathtub, shower. Tile the walls and new vanity and stuff like that. But I mean, it's move-in ready. We used it as an Airbnb. Did great, but we're a little busier with our businesses and our lifestyles that we just were managing it ourselves. And for the extra few couple thousand a year, it just really wasn't beneficial. So we found someone month to month that's willing to stay in there, So we're renting it out for about $1,500 a month right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. What are
So,
you hoping to get out of the place? Purchase price.
so we have a house around the corner that's a 2-1. This is a 3-1, and it's updated
You want to sell
just
them
like
both?
this one. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind if the
Okay.
price is right. Like I said, I get a lot of these phone calls, and I understand y'all are investors. You got to make your money. But I'm not desperate to sell these things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
These are me taking phone calls, and business is business. So if the price is right, sure, I'll be willing to sell and get out from under it and invest in something else. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's, what we do. I mean, of course, we'll buy at the auction at cheap and fix them up or something sometimes, but 90% of what I do is paying good price, but doing it with some owner financing involved. Do you have a debt on this property?
yeah, so
Okay.
both houses are mortgages are about 70,000.
Okay, so you have 140 across the two of them. What do you think? What would you want out of both of them if you sold them
So
both?
I just had one appraised, the 2-1 appraised for 130,000.
Okay.
So I would assume if I had the 3-1 appraised, it'd be probably somewhere around close to 150. Now, like I said, would I like to get top dollar what it's asked? Yes, in a perfect world with the fact that there's closing costs and all that good stuff that I would have to pay, but I can deal with wiggle room. I just can't do it for a lot of these phone calls I've been getting.
Of course.
People want to sell, wanting to buy it for 50 cents on a dollar, and I'm just like, look, I don't know if that makes sense to you, bud, but I'd be losing money from what I paid for it to what I put into it. You know what I mean? So,
Well, the good news, if we come to deals, you can stop taking those crappy calls. Question for you, though.
sorry. Hey, hush.
You're
I'm
good.
sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. So, in a perfect world, if we're not realtors, no 6% commission, and I pay the closing, your side and mine. We always close with a real estate attorney. What would be the least you would take for the
Figure
both of
what
them?
closing costs these days, depending on the house, cost, I would say a house that size, probably close to $10,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so if it's appraises for say 145, 150, take 10 off of it and maybe a few extra grand just to do business, but I can't do it for where people want to buy it for 100,000. You know what I mean? I can't lose $20,000, $30,000. You know what I mean?
Would somewhere in the 250s to 260s for both combined be acceptable to you?
It'd be reasonable. Yes. 260s. I mean, that's 130 a piece. Absolutely.
Okay. If we did, what's your payment on the 70K debt each?
Well, one of them's a 10-year, or excuse me, a 15-year mortgage, and the other one's a 30.
Okay.
So the 3-1 specifically is a 15-year. I owe about 11, 10 years left on it. Like I said, I owe about 70, 72,000, roughly, something like that. My payment on that is $1,000 a month.
Okay.
The other one I think is like 600.
All right, 600 a month.
It could be a little bit less. I'm trying to factor in and remembering paperwork from closing.
And you
All I
said
do, man, is I invest, I work my own businesses, and my wife pays the bills. Does that make sense? You know
that
what I mean?
makes perfect sense, brother. You got a good thing going. You got how long you been investing?
Well, I mean, I don't consider myself an investor, man. I'm just trying to do what my dad never did, I'm trying to make sure when I hang my boots up, when I want to put them on, I want to put them on because I want to, not because I have to. You know what I mean? And I got my dad's 67. He works for me in one of my shops. So, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like that. I want to wake up and debate if I want to go on vacation or if I want to go down to the shop and do a little bit of busy work. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
So when I have a little extra cash or find a good deal or something, I buy a house or just like last year, I'll buy a business and I hire people and I work in it, learn a job, and now I got another investment. So that's kind of how I am. Like I said, I don't want to consider myself an investor. I'm just
That makes sense.
Maybe an entrepreneur. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I like it. I like it. Okay. If I was to do, let me see, 15. Did you say they're both rented? Or you said just the ones?
Yeah, so I've got one in there right now. The 2-1 rents out for $12.50 a month. And the other one rents for 15.
Okay. You pay utilities on those or no?
The $12.50 is on them. The 1,500, I have the utilities in my name. They pay $2,000.
Okay.
And that would be the River Road one, by the way. The 3-1 is the one with the utilities.
Yep. Okay. Okay. If we was to do 260, pay the close whenever you want, we start covering underlying debt. We become responsible for the maintenance, repairs, and taxes and insurance. The way we would usually do it after we buy them from you, of course, we'd run out, the tenants who are in there, obviously, as long as they're paying. And then,
oh yeah, they've been great. No issues on any of them. One of them pays weekly. The other one pays the first of the month like normal.
Okay. And then we would, once at some point when they move out, as time always happens, and we would then turn around and lease option the property, at which point, that's how we get our money and end up selling the darn things down the line. And so we would buy them from you. Of course, we want to see them prior to closing, but assuming that 260 will work for you, I think that would work for us based on what I have here, based on the values. The monthly payment, we could cover that monthly, 1600 a month. PITI, we could cover all that. And then when cash you out your remaining 110 whenever we resell them. Question for you, if we was to do that, like assuming you're liking this and it works for us, like how soon would you be looking to make a deal on these?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Like I said, they are my homes, but my wife is my partner, so I kind of can't just say, hey, deal. I mean, if I want to be that and then deal with an argument or whatever.
Of course.
But,
what's your wife's name?
Yeah,
Walt?
I mean, Heather.
Walt, and hey, that's my partner's name.
Yeah. So she, like I said, if I tell her, hey, 260 is what we're going to net. And if she's good with it, like I said, it's kind of how I operate. She does a lot of the busy work for me. Like I said, I do the work, the physical work and the investing, but she literally She makes sure people stay in it. She keeps it when something's broke. She makes sure she makes phone calls. So I kind of, let her be a voice in it as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you do me a favor, Walt? Just so, because I got the River Road one, but can you, as soon as we hang up, can you text me the other address just so I can do a little deep dive online while you
Sure.
and Heather have a chat? I'll
Sure.
wait to get that text from you. Heather, my partner Heather, and I are going to have a chat on this. And then would it be okay if we call you guys back tomorrow around the same time?
Yeah, I was going to say anytime after 3 p.m. is the best time to reach me. Now, if you need to speak with my wife, whether you do or not, but if you have questions, you tell me. She actually works a full-time job at the hospital. She's a nurse. So
What time does she get off?
she usually home by 5:30. So
Okay.
if you want to wait till a little bit later in the evening to call to
Yeah.
speak with her as well, then I would say make it around 5:30 Eastern time.
Okay. Heather's noting down, we'll give you a call. You'll hear from her probably around that 5:30. And that way, because your wife may have a couple questions for us too. So we just kind of
Sure.
nail down any questions we have for her, her for us. And if we come to terms, be a win-win. And if not, we'll part as friends, and that's okay too.
Sounds good. This is probably the easiest one out of all 100 phone calls I've had at giving me offers.
Well, thank you.
Because as soon as you get down to it, you call the assistant, or the assistant calls you, and the assistant says, "Yeah, well, I'll have my boss call you." And then he calls me. He's like, "Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a property for me. We're looking at like maybe 105." And I'm like, "Bro, I bought it for that. I put 30,000 into it. You spoke it. You know what I mean? Come on." He said, "I play ball. I got wiggle room, but
Yeah.
I mean, I can't lose." You know what I'm saying?
You gotta make some money. We gotta make some money. Everybody's gotta win, or else it's not worth doing. So,
And that sounds like a plan to me. So I'll look forward to you about 5:30 tomorrow.
all right. Well, appreciate you, brother. We'll
And I'll
talk
send
soon.
you that text to that next address.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right. Let's go. Yes.
Let's go, Andrew.
Tell me to bring me my money.
Where did my screen go?
You're
there we are.
good.
There we are. All right. Welcome back.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. I want to get to any questions. By the way, make sure that you are scanning the QR code on your screen or going to request.truka.com and make sure you request your tickets because we're going to be together doing this live and in person May 15, 16, 17 in Cincinnati, Ohio. All right. I've got a special announcement, and then I'm going to bring up a guest. And should time permit, we got more live dials to make.
Well,
I
before you
want
do
to
that,
get to any questions you guys have, though.
here you go. I got one from IDL Consulting. Question is how to join your program. I filled out the form but didn't hear back yet unless I don't recognize a number. So please advise. What's that process look
Yes.
like?
What's up, Ideal Consulting? So scan that QR code on. Well, by the way, what's your name, Ideal Consulting? Type it in the chat. My team is on here now, and they will make sure they reach out to you, assuming we have your info. But do two favors for me. Number one, type your name in the chat, Ideal Consulting. And number two, go on request your tickets right now and fill out your name, number, and email. And the team will reach out to you to get you tickets and whatever you need. All right. I'll wait for your response comment because I want to know your name, Ideal Consulting. Otherwise, I'll be calling you Ideal Consulting. And my team will say, hey, I don't know if we called Ideal Consulting or not.
All right. Well, no other questions on my end. I think people
Beautiful.
were just really happy with the results of that call.
Yeah, so I want to point out something on that call. Number one is when you're talking to a seller, your job, type it in the chat, only one job. Ask great questions. Ask great questions. That's your entire job. Now, why is that your entire job? I want to point out because as you're doing this business, as you're doing these deals, people are going to call you. And these, Dion is your name. Awesome, Dion. Scan the QR code, request your tickets now. And my team, who is on here, will be reaching out to you, no doubt this evening or tomorrow, as long as you filled out that QR code on the screen. Um, Thanks for being here, Diane. On that call, my first job is to cut through the noise. I know what it's like. If you guys have, some of you, most of you are experienced, have had houses on the market. Those of you who are newer, maybe you haven't yet, but you put it on the market. They're getting 10 calls a day. Nine of them are realtors asking to list their darn property. And the other call is a wholesaler offering them half price. And I'm exaggerating. Maybe it's not literally 100%, but that's how it feels when you're getting 10, 20, 30 calls a day. And it's people reading the same darn script, asking the same darn questions. And what do you owe on the property? How much work does it need? Asking all these questions, reading a script, sounding like a robot, saying my boss will call you back, and the investor calls him back and says, "Oh, by the way, we're at 160." It's what wholesalers do. Nothing wrong with the business, by the way. I'm not beating up on wholesalers. I'm just telling you, you have this boss flow tool in your tool belt, and your job is to stand out and be different. If my only tool in my tool belt was wholesaling, well, gosh, then I would have to be different in a different way, wouldn't I? Except this is a way that I'm going to ask him great questions. And you notice every time I ask a question, he wanted to preface it with everybody else, etc. Fill in the blank. So I notice how I went in finally and I gave him a gentle re-guide and I said, if we come to terms, you won't have to take any of those other crappy calls from anybody else. What was I doing? I was getting to the pain point. When somebody says, my tenant's not paying me, this happened, this happened, I'm going to say, if we come to terms, then you're not going to have to worry about the darn tenants anymore. I'm addressing the hot button. All right. So if you address the hot button, and now we come back and he finally says, okay, I like this. Well, what's our next hurdle? My wife's my business partner. So we got him into a position where he's on board. He loves the idea of not having to come home at night and his wife goes, oh, that freaking tenant didn't pay me today and I had to go collect for that electric bill. And the electric's in our name. And for whatever reason, they shorted me on the rent. He's going, oh my gosh, I just get to come home and like not worry about it. Cool. Now, he's not, as he said, not desperate to sell. Cool. That's good. Most of the people over half the people we buy from are not. We are a void in the marketplace, arbitrage. We are the difference. We're not wholesaling in this case. We're not paying cheap cash below value. We're also not necessarily giving him quite retail, but you get to make a difference, the difference between the rent every month, as these tenants are there, already taking over cash flow on day one, Heather, and then assuming that you come to terms, and as a tenant moves out, now you're moving a tenant buyer in, and now you are moving to your back end payday, which over time appreciation happens. So what might be today only a 30 or 40 or $50,000 profit deal combined, if you have them for 2 or 3 or 4 years, I've had houses that the day I bought them was only going to net me 20K. But 3 years later, when they cash me out, they net 50K because of appreciation, depreciation, and pay down over time. So my worst case is I make 20K, and my best case is I make six figures. I'm okay with those odds. Make sense? Yes. So we ask great questions. But Andrew, I don't know all the answers that you just said. Cool. You just asked questions. I didn't make him a single offer. He told me his payment. I said, we'll cover your payment. I asked his price. He said, I don't want X. I don't want half price. I kept going back to what do you want? Well, I think they would appraise for 280. Got it. Well, if we pay the closing costs, there's no realtor fees. What's the least you would take? And finally, we come to 250s, 260s, which was what I was trying to do, was get it at 260, nothing down, taking over the debts. All right, now we know the hurdle tomorrow, Heather. You're going to have a chat with Heather and with Walt and answer any questions they have. And A, bring this thing to a contract, or B, schedule it for a follow-up if for some reason it's not able to come to a contract tomorrow. And I'm telling you guys, if you just do this consistently, this business starts to be magical. All right. I want you guys to, by the way, any more
I got one comment from you
questions?
from
What is
Diane.
it?
So Diane was saying that she can't make it to Cincinnati. So do you have another program to offer?
We do. We have an application program by application only.
Hmm.
And if you filled out the QR code, Diane, they will just let them know you can't attend Cincinnati, and they will let you know what other earn and learn potentials there are, to borrow your phrase there. Good question.
Got it.
All right. Good, good, good. Momentum, baby. Let's bring up our incredible guest. Oh, actually, before we do that, can you play that promo? Leave that QR code on the screen for us. Play that little promo video. I want him to see what the last event was like. And then when we come back, we'll bring up my dear friend, Mr. John
You want both
Rooney.
videos? Just one.
Yeah, both of them, back to back.
You got it.
Before I joined DOL, I felt very discouraged and didn't have much confidence at all about doing deals.
Before DOL, our situation as a team looked frustrating.
So before REOS and this event, felt like I was working with outdated information.
Before DOL, my situation looked chaotic, undisciplined.
I decided to come to this event because I'm new to the real estate world. It's such an extensive opportunity.
I decided to come to this event because it was part of the package I had purchased and jumped in on.
Right after I joined, my coach immediately, that first day of the Truka workshop, we had to do live seller calls.
The biggest way DOL has helped us is giving us an idea of what's possible.
This event is really reassuring because I know I'm getting the latest and greatest stuff that's working for not just 1 or 2 people, but 100 people.
Being live here has been just the energy in the room. Everyone is so excited, so helpful. It's like a family type of feel here.
The biggest shift for me since being here live has been the connections and seeing all the pieces fall into place for making this a reality.
The DOL program has helped enhance me to that level. I'm ready to go.
And welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a beautiful day it is. I want to do something a little different as we get ready to bring up Mr. John Rooney. I want you to type in the chats a win from you today. It could be I woke up, I drank water, I had gratitude. It could be I'm healthy, got a home, surrounded by amazing people. But just type a win in the chat. Get a little bit of energy coming in. All right. And it's a gorgeous sunny day. Had a nice walk, an ice walk. Oh, yes. All right. Welcome in, Mr. John Rooney. How are you feeling today, my brother?
Doing beautiful, Andrew. It was a fantastic day here.
Man, so good to see you. And before we dive in, I just want everybody to know you're someone who, I guess it was what, three years ago, maybe we was at a lunch together and we was chatting. Maybe it's longer than that. And we were talking about real estate investing goes. You ended up becoming actually part of our mastermind community. And over the last several years, you've just been what I would consider, and in a beautiful way, just slow and steady, just doing deals, just putting pieces together, just consistent, working at the time a full-time job, which congratulations, I want to get into to that shift. But can you just bring us up to speed? Because you're someone who I believe everybody here is going to get a lot of perspective from, because you're not one of those guys who goes out and does 12 deals a month. You're one of those guys who just puts this business together and growth and true wealth building over time. So who is John Rooney and what are you working on?
Yeah. For those that don't know, I just recently exited my W-2 and now I'm in real estate full time. So when Andrew said it was slow and steady wealth, that was absolutely the case. I was not the person that was doing four, five, six deals a month just because my life and business couldn't allow it. And also I didn't have the processes, procedures, systems in place to get that going. But right now, I just recently got my agent's license, so I'm doing this full time. I'm able to dedicate an extra 50 to 60 hours a week to the real estate business. But I'm still wholesaling, still buying and creatively, still um, not doing too much fix and flips, but also looking into get to some private money financing as well, lending.
Good. So I want to hear from you as you're doing this business, John, over the last handful of years. What, number one, you're doing Boslo. You're selling on lease option some of your stuff. You've been doing the Boslo method. How many houses have you sold on lease option the last couple of years?
5.
Okay.
So still a couple rentals in my portfolio, but the 5 that I have, it has changed the business tremendously. Instead of, you're treating the tenant like a home buyer throughout the process. And those that have come through and purchased the property or gone through the lease option program, they treat the property a heck of a lot differently than those that are regular tenants. I'm fortunate enough, I don't have the biggest sample size, but all of my lease option properties have not missed a payment, haven't had to evict anybody, and I've driven by and they have treated the property far more nicely than my long-term tenants have. So, from a financial perspective as well, is that it juices the front end. So I'm able to get a portion of the equity up front when they come with the non-refundable option deposit, which helps go for marketing and other causes, but keeping some of the back end too in case there is an eviction. But it's simplified the management of the tenants and it's increased the P&L for me personally as well. So all around, it's a wins across the board going on lease option.
Do you mind sharing the how much approximately in the last 5 inroads you got in totality? Has it been over
Yeah,
six figures or multiple six?
yeah, yes, it's been over six figures. There's one that I just recently did that was a outlier, a significant transaction, and one of the members in our Freedom Life Mastermind brought this tenant buyer to me. So, if you're on the call, a lot of this time, if you're looking to say, "How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do it?" A lot of times it's just shifting that how to who, because I wasn't the one going out there finding the lease option buyer. Someone brought this person to me and we were able to JV on part of that NROD. But to answer your question, yes, it's been over six figures with all of them combined, and it's significant.
Heck yeah. So just to button up what you said there, which I think this is so interesting, and you made reference to who, not how. And I think that for everyone here, we sometimes get caught up, and this is why I said, if we don't like the answers we're getting, ask better questions. And you talked about more than six figures over 5 deals. That's an average of more than $20,000 down. And I know you talk about one alone that was substantially more than that. So I want to hear from your perspective. What gave you confidence to finally say, you know what, I've had enough proof of concept. I've got enough of these deals under my belt. It's time to shift from my main cash vehicle because that's what we're talking about here is like how do we B build true wealth, most importantly, and then A, of course, somewhere everyone here has to have a cash vehicle. Some people that's wholesaling, some people that's in rods alone, some people that is a W-2 job, some people that's other businesses they run. But the cash vehicle, what finally gave you confidence to take your main cash vehicle and say, I'm going to leave that. I've built enough wealth, or I've got this one producing good enough?
It was the opportunity cost. So, you know, I won't go too far into the weeds, but there was a change in my company that resulted in me working a lot more hours for a lot less pay. And I took on a whole lot of different responsibility, worked with a whole lot of more people in senior management. And at the end of the year is, hey, congratulations, we'll afford you with a 3% raise. And with an inflation at, 8 to 10%, it's a pretty significant loss there. But seeing the opportunity of, okay, I was able to do all these deals, but also have the plan in place that, okay, I have the community around me that can make it happen. I have the education to make it happen. And also I have the game plan to take down all these deals. And if anything was stopping me, I mean, you heard a master class with Andrew on that call where, he was able to position himself and frame the last seller to let's hope it's zero down. But yeah, he get two deals just by the conversation and framing. And the more you do it, it becomes easier and easier. But positioning myself personally in it took a lot of time to get there, but um, it's the opportunity for wholesaling, for doing the BOF slow. There's just so much out there, and if you surround yourself with the right people, it makes it a heck of a lot easier. You can go as far as you want, really. So that's up to you.
Something I want to add perspective on, John. What do you say to someone on here? Probably half the crew is new, trying to get the first deal. Probably half the crew is already doing deals consistently. To the half the crew who's the new crew, what's your word of advice to them? And to the half the crew who's already doing deals, what's your word of advice to them as somebody who's uh, fresh into full-time investing?
I think they kind of touch on both because I always go through the same exercise myself is write down the life that I want and how to get there. Because not every deal, not every strategy works for everybody. For example, for me, I am not a fix and flipper whatsoever. I
Hmm.
think the amount of time that you put into a deal, the amount of effort it takes to managing the contractors, it's just not that great of a payoff. And I don't have the systems in place to do that. So if you go and write down, okay, I want, X amount per month, then you work it backwards and say, how do I get there? And if it's wholesaling one deal a month and adding a Bobslow property to your portfolio the next month, as long as you have the plan that works best for your situation, everybody's going to have a different one. That's uh, at least my advice there is because that's always going to change. As soon as you start to see some traction, things start going your way, you might say, okay, maybe I like wholesaling more, or maybe Bobslow is the way to go. But you can also always make that adjustment. But as soon as you have proof of concept and the systems in place to go, it's always a reevaluation for me. Now that I have my agent's license, it's okay. I didn't think I'd be working with as many buyers and sellers, but that is going to afford me the opportunity to get in front of a lot of different deals and a lot of different people and a lot of different industries. So it's just always reevaluating it. And if one door closes, maybe there's something that better fits your lifestyle.
I want to ask you another question that I love hearing you share about because, again, probably of the people who come into our world, two-thirds of them do not have a realtor's license. I don't. And about a third either do have or choose to get. And I want to hear from your perspective you're smart. You've been investing now for quite a few years. You've been successful in investing. What caused you to say, I'm going to put in the time, because it does take a lot of patience, to go through all the tests to get my license and become a realtor? Is it just strictly lead source? Is it revenue stream? Is it both? Like what's the process you went through to make that decision?
You talked about how if you're a wholesaler, all you're going to do is wholesale and come in with the low offer. And in this perspective is that, this person, he might have a retail property. And if I have another tool in my tool belt where it's like, okay, if I'm, if it's good enough where it's not, wholesale is not an option, Bobslow is not an option, I can get in front of him and list it appropriately. But also, if I'm working a bunch of different neighborhoods, I may be able to get in front of a bunch of different people that didn't know Bobslow or wholesaling was an option. So, and there's different disclosures when I speak with people because there's fiduciary responsibilities, but it allows the pool of people I'm able to serve to be expanded rather than contracted. And also, if another agent has a commission, I don't have to pay that down the road. So if I'm selling something, I can save the 2.5 or 3%. So that pales in comparison to the couple of hours and couple $1,000 it took to get the license.
Very cool. And I like this perspective because, again, I chose not to get mine. It's something I don't have the patience for. And I know that's a lot of the community. And I also know that the third or so who do hold it, like they love it and they wouldn't change it. And so I think that's such a great perspective because every one of you listening to this, you're going to relate. I know we just had David on recently. I know we just had Judy on recently. You're going to relate to the different styles, except understand that whatever your vision is. John said, write down your future vision. Whatever your vision is, then how do I make this asset base or this business or this income vehicle support that life? So I want to hear from your perspective, John. What is the life you enjoy living? What's fun to you? What excites you? And you what do you like to do?
Yeah, I like first and foremost to hang with my family and friends. There's nothing uh, better that I like to do. And with that, there's certain strategies out there. For example, fix and flip is there's a huge uh, portion of it that is managing contractors, managing everything else. And the more projects that you have, the more busy you become. So like that is something that is not necessarily for me. But the lifestyle that I have is, building wealth over time and also seeking the active income. Because if I'm able to wholesale a couple deals a month, close on a couple deals as an agent from the buy and sell side, that allows me the flexibility to go find Bofslow deals or get larger properties that I can take down, and those might not yield the cash flow on a monthly basis that I can live on. But in the background, over 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that becomes the retirement egg where I can choose to work if I want to. I don't need to. But in the meantime, it's getting to that point where I'm serving a lot of people, helping them get what they want first. And eventually the lifestyle that I want will be, followed through with that as well.
I like that perspective. I want to find out, Stephanie, does anybody have, you guys pop your questions and any chat questions you have for me or John? Any questions we have in the chats that John and I can answer before we hop back over to some live dialing and wrap the day?
We've got one from Dave Layton. Is John investing locally or remote?
So I am local to Louisville, Kentucky, and if you drop a pin in Louisville, Kentucky and do a 100-mile radius around it, that's sort of my core area. Wholesaling is a little different where I know investors in different areas. So if a deal happens to fall in my I'm happy to refer that or do some sort of JV deal. But I would say 99% of what I do is locally to Louisville.
Good question, Dave. Good to see you, by the way, brother. And John, from your perspective, where are you getting most of your leads right now?
So a lot of the leads that I had, I use something called Lead Mining Pro. It was a cold calling service that does the cold calling for you. They vet some of the leads that are looking to sell, and then I would get on the phone and speak with them directly. The one lead source that has been by far the highest ROI has been bandit signs. I don't know if it works for everybody else, and I'm sure there's regulations and restrictions for different communities and municipalities, but here in Louisville, I have taken down a number of deals with high ROI with not a lot of costs involved in that. So I know that's not what is traditionally the biggest lead source for a lot of people, but it has worked tremendously for me, especially from a P&L perspective.
And I like that feedback because I think, again, back to Kurt Dixon. I know he ran his entire business for a while off of what he calls mobile bandit signs, which is paying Uber drivers and Lyft drivers to put car magnets on their cars. And then, of course, no rules against that, right? And then regular bandit signs. And we bought an enormous amount of houses from those over years. And I don't promote those for the very reason you just said when we're talking about nationally. And you mentioned lead mining pros. That's Nicholas Nick, right?
Yeah.
How has that, good or bad, how has that turned out for you?
It's been pretty good for me, taking down a couple deals here and there. Uh, there's a lot of junk that you have to wade through. Like, I don't think the SMS portion of it is as fine-tuned as it could be, but a lot of the lead sources that come, and it's also when a lead comes that's calling you for something, you should call that lead immediately. when I first started, I thought, okay, I can get back to this in the tomorrow or the next day or the following day. And by that time, that person's motivation is either gone away or somebody else and has gotten in front of that lead. For example, there's other wholesalers here in Louisville where when I first started, I didn't take advantage of when the lead called me, only to find out 10 days later, one of my buddies, which is great for him, he locked up that and he got a pretty sweet assignment fee on it. So the leads are what you make of them. It's just when someone is incoming and looking for you to help their situation, that's the time to uh, help them out as quickly as possible.
And I want to point out something there. Philosophy I live by. Everybody listening to this is going to be so powerful for you. Be the first and be the last. Because most of the time when somebody calls you, they're going to be saying to you, and which one are you again? Which to me obviously states they filled out 10 of these forms. Whoever called them first is the first call they're on. And you have that first opportunity. Be the last. Why? Because if they're not motivated yet for whatever reason, and you and all the other 10 people who did or didn't call them back are all, everybody else quit following up with them. Your CRM, I hope, is still following up with them. So if you're the first, you'll get a bunch of the cream of the crop that everyone else is trying to get to. And if you're the last one still following up, you will get a bunch of the leftovers that everybody else has already got tired of following up on, and it finally comes back as an even better deal. And so that's why I talk so much about follow-up systems. And well, Andrew, if I don't have a follow-up system or CRM, can I buy houses? Of course you can. But it may be the difference between buying two out of these 300 leads or buying six out of these 300 leads. And two's good, but six is great. And so it not doesn't matter what it costs us, it matters what it can make us, as you often hear me say. John, how is things since going full time? How are you feeling? Are you stressed or nervous at all? Are you just excited? Like how are you feeling?
It's all excitement here. It's getting out there, doing a lot more networking. Just to, people knew me as an investor, so now being an investor and an agent, I need to rebrand myself in a certain way and also see that I can provide value to a lot more people. But it's a lot. It's very exciting because I'm able to dive deeper in the community. And when I was working with my W-2, the W-2 was out of Chicago. That's where I was from. And I live here in Louisville. So there was a disconnect between the value I'm providing my community. So that in itself is a heck of a excitement knowing that I can give back to a lot of people and make an impact here locally.
I like that. All right. Any more questions that we have for John, Stephanie?
We did have one from Bill Welch. I think you answered it, but just in case, what are your favorite bandit signs?
I think it's called supercheapsigns.com. Is that right, Andrew?
Yeah. Do you get the 18 by 24 ugly handwritten, or do you use a different version?
That's the standard one. Yep. So I get that. And then also same thing, same type of sign, but if you're doing the lease option, basically, bad or no credit, okay, call this number. So yeah, those are the signs that I used. Supercheapsigns.com. For me, it ran about $500 for 100 signs. And, we can talk later, but you can find somebody to go put the signs out for you. And it makes your life a lot easier.
Heck yeah. What's up, Steven, Jason, Bill, James? I'm glad you're new and I'm glad you're in the house.
We got
All
one
right,
more.
what questions we got, Stephanie?
Yes, one more. This one is from Roseanne. Roseanne is asking, how did you manage incoming leads with your W-2? So ethics. I can't do business while I work. Technically, listening to this call is against ethic rules. So this makes me tentative to put out bandit signs and car magnets. Thoughts?
Yeah. So I don't know, Andrew, if you've talked about this on the call, but there's a virtual receptionist company called Pat Live, and they'll give you a dedicated phone number for the area code that you're in. So if a call comes in, they automatically pick up the call, and then they give you the voice notes of what is said during it. So if someone's looking to buy or sell, that takes a lot off your plate. But then also, since I was in the W-2 world, I did JV with a number of people in the community where as soon as a lead came into my email, I would forward it off to somebody else, or they can have access to those leads as well. So Lisa, somebody that I worked with, and a few other people as well. When the leads came in, I would push it off, and we had an agreement in place, for example, for a wholesale, that if they were able to call the lead, set it up, basically have an appointment for me to get on the phone with them later in the evening or before work or during the lunch hours, we would split that assignment fee, whatever percentage works for all of you. But having somebody else, if you're in a position to do so, work those leads, it saves you a lot of time, but also you can get in front of the leads a lot more quickly than having to do it yourself if you're in that W-2 position.
That's a great answer. And I want to point out, Roseanne, that that's back to who. And that is, of course, part of that being 24-hour answering service. You can ask in Circle and we'll give you, you just use the link and ask for the Andrew Schlag script, and they'll set you up with a whole question answering script for your team. And second on that is that's why it's so important to have the right people around you. And Roseanne, I know you're part of the coaching community. And so reach out in the coaching community, find somebody else you can tag team with. And when your leads come in, somebody else is following up. All right. We are going to get back to some live dials. Everybody join me in giving great big round of applause in the chats to John Rooney. I just want to say, John, thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate you so much. Not only who you are as a friend and somebody who has such a great heart and servant's heart, frankly, but an inspiration, I know, to everyone else because you do an incredible job and run a great business. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Will I get to
So,
see you in May, John?
I'm trying to make that happen. So,
Beautiful.
yeah, I'll try to make that happen.
Awesome, man. I look forward to it. We'll have a good time. Thanks
Sounds
again.
good. Take care, everyone.
All right. Back to the last couple of dials of the day. Let's see if we can get one more seller on the phone. If you've not got your tickets, scan the QR code or go to request.truka.com and request your tickets. All right. Let's see. Do we have any more questions while I'm looking up this address, Stephanie?
Here's one from Bill. Bill saying, what do your favorite signs say?
They say, I buy houses cash at the top. They say, I buy houses at the top. Great big letters, cash, capital C, capital A, $H. And then the phone number at the bottom is my Pat Live phone number.
What would you say are the percentage of people looking for money upfront as opposed to 100% finance?
I would say 100% of the people that you call are looking for money up front. And you ask questions. Most of them don't even know that another option exists. And last time I measured it, it was a little over 20% who said they would contemplate taking payments over time.
Well done. No other questions so far, unless I missed it. If you guys want to drop a question in the comments at the queue in the front, I could easily find it.
All right, we'll see if we get one more on the phone.
Telephone number.
This is...
Your call cannot be completed at this time. Please try again later. En este momento no se...
That was Tim's lead. That was Eric on Helen Street. That is a bad phone number. And the Adam for Joseph, Adam on Bighorn Court did not answer. All right, let's go to... Nelson on Lexington.
Hello.
Nelson, it's Andrew calling you back on the Lexington house. How are you?
Hey, Andrew.
Good. Did I catch you at a good time?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you was talking to my partner um, on that house. And by the way, it's rented, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then what are you looking to get out of it, price wise?
Well, I was hoping for like 120, but so are you, Andrew? Like, are you thinking about rent to own? Is that what we were talking about?
I would be looking to buy it. Buy it by perhaps taking over the debt or doing some owner financing. You owe about 50,000 on it?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your monthly payment, including taxes and insurance?
It's around, I think it's 459, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. 120. What do you think it would appraise for if we got it appraised today?
Not 120, I don't think. I don't know. I, like, I'm just hoping to get, like, I have $100,000 in it. So, um, anything above that becomes profit for me. So,
Okay.
anything,
You think it would appraise for 100?
I don't know. On Zillow, I don't even think so. That's why I feel like I'm gonna do probably rent to own with someone that wants a place, and then they can pay me over time. That's
Does it
why
need
I
any
don't know.
work?
It needs very minimal work, I would say, but
Like paint,
like
carpet, roof?
cabinets, um, the ceiling in the back, I think it got some water damage from uh ice damming. So I'm waiting on insurance for that, but a few things like that.
Okay. All right. Um, if we if we could, I don't know that we could because normally we don't pay above appraisal, but I'm looking at it online now. If we could buy it from you and get up to that 100 price, normally the way we would do it would be, buy it for the 100, pay the closing, your side and ours. We're not realtors, there's no fees or commissions, and then we would cover that, 459 a month payment until we resell the house down the line, after some appreciation happens and we paid you off the full 100. Would that be something that would work for you?
Yeah, so I think the thing I told your friend was uh I would have to do probably some kind of down payment and then an interest on the money, not just,
Whoa.
oh,
Okay. Yeah, forgive me, caught me off guard. So yeah, if we pay above appraisal, we wouldn't be willing to pay interest on top of that and a down payment and closing costs and realtor fees and above retail.
I know.
Yeah. So we do you need the down payment for something specific, or you just looking to make sure you don't get the house back, or what's that for?
Yeah, it's just to make sure that we don't, like, let's say you guys wanted, if I just had someone that I don't know who it is,
Of course.
just said, hey, yeah, we'll take this house and I'll pay you monthly on it.
Yeah.
And then they go in and they trash it and then they give it back to me and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna bail on what we promised.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't gain anything from that, and now I've got a trashed house that.
Got it. Yeah,
And then
what we
the reason for
do.
the interest,
Go ahead.
reason for the interest is I'm pretty sure I could sell it for 100,000, and if it's gonna take you guys 5 years to sell it to somebody, well, why would I want to get into this with you guys for
Yeah.
5 years? So I understand it might not make sense for you guys, and I know you guys have to make money, but I don't think this is maybe going to work out just because.
Yeah, and just so you know, like we're definitely not a fit for everybody. We probably could get to the 100. We probably could take over the 215, the 459 a month. Um, we could, we always close with a real estate attorney. Been doing this for 12 years. So we close with a real estate attorney, so you're protected and we're protected. And if for any reason our person we're selling it to does move out, that's our puppy, not yours to deal with. You're free and can move on until you get the what would that 100 minus 50, you'd get the $50,000 cash once we resell it. I don't know whether that's 12 months or or a few years, but sooner than later, because obviously we're going to mark it up from the 100 a little bit. But yeah, if that's something that works for you, great. We should further deep dive. If it's not, and you're like, no, I just want to sit on it and see what happens, then we wouldn't. That's okay too.
Yeah, yeah. It probably seems like it. I think I could use you guys if it's like a last ditch effort. But I'd hope for something better, really.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind being backup and just probably my as a backup, sometimes my offer's a little lower, but definitely let's reconvene this conversation here in about 30 days and hopefully in the meantime you get a great offer, and if not, we'll continue this.
That sounds great.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Nelson. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, bye for now.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Russell, put down to follow up with him May 8th. Hey, that's my dad's birthday. Put down to follow up with him May 8th. Not motivated right now, not unusual. And understand, we ask questions. We get paid in direct accordance to the questions we ask. And I want you guys to remember that, because with a thing like that, it's easy to be like, oh my gosh, we have an opportunity to buy a house. Okay, what's the profit centers? Equity. Are we getting it for less than it's worth? What's the profit centers? Monthly. Can we make cash flow? Well, in this one, it almost certainly can at $459 a month. Cool. Back end profit's gone because he's asking at or above retail. He's already put buried money in it. So understand in these cases, and for some of you, you're like I am when I started, and I just love to help people. So when they would tell me all these sad stories, I'd think, well, gosh, I can try to help them out. And before long, you go put 10K down on this house, and now you're burying another 10K in it because of repairs he didn't tell you about. Now you're in this thing for 20. You just put 20K down on a $80,000 house you paid 100 for. Well, now you're upside down. What a load of crap. If you're going to put 20 down, you should have got a bunch of equity in return. So understand it's his problem. It's not yours. Don't make it yours. The only way you're going to help him is if he allows you to help him. And the way he's going to allow you to help him is by selling you the darn thing with nothing down, being reasonable on the price. He's not going to get nobody to pay him above retail for this darn thing. Xenia, Ohio, house across the road just sold for 75 grand. And he sure as heck ain't going to let you stack interest, paying him some weird, ungodly interest rate on top of overpaying for the darn property. That's a lose, lose, lose situation. All right. I want to point that out because be okay killing the deal or letting me kill the deal in that case. So in the case of that, Russell, follow up with him in 30 days. By then, our offer will probably be closer to 75K. And by then, we'll take over his debt. And every month that goes by, he will be more motivated because he's putting another $459 out on payment and taxes and insurance. He's also paying somebody to keep up the yard if the weather is permitting that the yard's going. He's also, as long as he's got electric on, got an electric bill going out. He's also got a gas bill. So you best believe every month that goes by, he's realizing, well, crap, my 100's now 101 and my 101's now 102. Maybe I should talk to that Russell guy. All right. So scan the QR code, go to request.truka.com and get your tickets. May 15, 16, 17. Heather says, did Walt text you the other address? Yes, he did. Let me actually private message you, Heather, if I can figure out how to do that. I'm going to send you. Do we have any more questions before we wrap up today?
There is one question, and this is directly in relation to John. How can we JV with John and states that you have to have a real estate license to wholesale? So I guess that's for John to follow up.
Yeah. So Rick, normally with someone like John, who's our mastermind member, he loves to work with other community members. What I would recommend, and obviously anybody can go find John Rooney on Facebook and private message him. Nobody's stopping you from that. But the best way in order to get connection to a bunch of winners like Judy and John and Chris and David is to be a part of a community where they roam and roam in the same rooms as they do. And so, Rick, I would just recommend you scan the QR code and request your ticket, and the team will hook you up. Dr. Steve has a question. You're welcome, Heather.
Did you get Greg's info?
Did I get Greg's info? I don't know. Where would have I got Greg's info, brother? I don't recall, Greg.
And then Miss Heather was asking about, did Walt text you the other address?
Yes, I sent her a private message.
Got it.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes.
I submitted it maybe Saturday for the Wednesday live dial.
Yes, I sure do. I missed that one. Thank you, brother. I would dial him now. We'll do that before we wrap up. Everybody cool being on like 10 more minutes? Give me a yes in the chat. Plus, it helps with the algorithm for my YouTubers. By the way, if you're on YouTube, make sure you're requesting your tickets. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the channel where we go live every single week and we do this thing. All right. Oh, darn it. Where'd that lead go? Oh, here it is. Greg. It says Greg on Anya. This is 253. Greg on Tioga. Right. Let's see if Greg answers. Turn phone. 215. Shout out to Steve. Steve is crushing the calls. He's just consistent.
Hello.
Hey, Greg, it's Andrew, Steve's partner, calling you back on the Tioga Street House. How you doing?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
I'm good. Did I catch you at a good time?
Yeah, this is good.
Cool. I think you and Steve talked. From my understanding, you're looking to sell this property and two others as well. Is that my understanding?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna spread it out there probably.
Okay. And then my understanding is with your tax situation and everything, if we could work it out where we pay you over time, you'd be open to doing some owner financing, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh, got it. Okay. What are you asking for the house?
For Tioga, I think we're gonna probably list it somewhere around 300.
Okay. And you have it paid off, or is it still got a debt?
It's paid off.
Okay. What's the tax and insurance run on that house?
Geez. God, what are the taxes? I think like 2,500 for taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Yeah, I don't know what the insurance is. It's all under one plan. They're all,
Yeah. Okay.
they're all bunched up there. I have no idea.
All good. All good.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, if we could agree on somewhere around that 300 and make that work, I mean, would you be open to giving us some time to pay you off?
No, I'm not. I have no interest in holding mortgages. No, at all. Zero.
Just all cash?
Yeah, no.
You looking to do something specific with the cash?
Yeah, or cash, or I mean, whatever, whoever gets a mortgage, cash. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't.
Of course. Okay. Yeah, we basically what me and Steve do, we of course we buy fixer uppers on occasion, for cash flow value, but most of our business is, we buy on owner financing and then we turn around and sell it on lease option, and it nets you more money over time, it's immediate sell, but it would be a delayed cash sell. So
Yeah,
Okay.
I have to pay taxes on that immediately, so I have no interest. Sorry. Yeah. So whenever we sell, I guess whenever we sell it, it goes through as it's being sold. So
yeah,
you know what I mean. So I owe
fair.
I owe taxes on it. Yeah, I owe
Also,
a lot of taxes on it.
Also note though, and I'm not a CPA, don't claim to be, but we've bought a ton of these to people who help defer their tax burden by the way we set up the documents, on a contract for deed type such. So if that's worth exploring for you, that's how
I have zero interest growth. I'm sorry.
All right, cool, brother. I appreciate it, Greg.
All right, you got it, bro.
Bye for now.
Thanks.
All right. No go. Next. There's a better one right behind it. Way to go, Steve. Keep following up with him. Looks like if it's the same one I'm looking at, it looks like he gave 20 grand for that thing back in 2000. So he very well may change his mind. Who knows? No wonder he's going to get hit with taxes. But again, he is asking the wrong questions. And so he's going to get smacked on taxes. He thinks his only answer is to sell them, but he wasn't interested in hearing other options. So this is where you've got to, as a real estate investor, ask great questions. And when someone tells you no, re-ask the question. And if you ask it 2 or 3 times and they keep saying no, then you move along to someone else. Because I have sometimes somebody reach out to me, Andrew, it's perfect. He just needs to delay his tax. He already told me 3 times no. All right. So in 3 months, if it's not sold, maybe he'll consider it. But between now and then, go spend your energy doing a deal with somebody who actually wants to do a deal with you. All right. So, way to go, guys. Happy Wednesday. It's a beautiful day. If you haven't already done it, scan the QR code on your screen, request your tickets, come hang out with us in May in Cincinnati, May 15, 16, 17. You guys are in the right place. I told you I was going to have a special announcement. Are you ready for a special announcement? Yes? Yes? All right. I am going to be doing something for you guys, our community, and be watching. If your name and email and phone number is in my sphere, be watching. If it's not, be watching my online, be watching my YouTube, be watching. I'm going to be going live on Zoom every day for 2 weeks starting Monday. And I'm going to be hanging out with you guys, calling our community deals probably not quite every day, but we'll be doing it every day. And I'm going to be giving you guys a 12-day step-by-step finding deals, raising money for deals, closing deals, negotiating deals. Some of you guys have been in the world long enough. You already know the stuff, but you need a refresher. Some of you guys are newer to this. And I'm telling you, it's going to serve you really well across 12 days. I said 2 weeks. Yes, Monday through Saturday for 2 weeks. So it's 12 days. 12 days every day at 4 PST, 7 EST. We're going to be hanging out and I'm going to be closing some deals live. I'm going to be giving you a breakdown, a boot camp, and we're going to be having an incredible time for 60 minutes a day. So 12 hours of you guys taking this stuff in. It launches on Monday. So be watching for a text or an email or a Facebook post from me for that opportunity. All right. And if you just want to make sure that I have your name and email because, I don't yet, then ask for tickets and then I'll have it. All right. Be blessed, guys. Happy Wednesday. Go crush it. Go do some deals. Bye for now. Thank you, Stephanie.